Hey guys,
Hi, Monique.
how are you?
How are you?
Good. Oh yeah, that's Patty, right? Patty, you're 990, right? I always forget. Carol, you don't have your dog with you today.
Believe me, he'll be in.
Let's see. Hey Gary.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there's a puppy.
Yeah, he doesn't stray too far from me when I'm home.
Yeah. Hey Danielle.
Hi.
Did you, before we get started with the big group, do you need anything from me from our call yesterday?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I would really like to pick your brain about it a little bit, but no.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I was some of it I was half paying attention to when I was not on video because somebody stopped by at my house.
Oh.
So it's like listening, half listening.
Yeah, no, it was hard. I think I learn a lot about myself through these Zoom meetings. My patience is not always great. So
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some good information. I definitely am looking forward to the emails from him, and hopefully there'll be some good, easy share information. Because I think that would be good. But.
Yeah, it was a little bit basic, and it took the hour, so I feel like we could have covered most of it in half an hour.
Yeah. And I said to Dan, I'm like, I understand that other people have a lot of stuff going on, but I have the one comment where, or I think he said it a couple times, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm like,
I know.
Oh boy. Okay. Deep breaths. It's okay, Danielle. Relax.
Oh well.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows, right? It's so hard because
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got messages popping up on his screen and things going on around him, and we're all doing that, right? So it's
totally.
Okay.
Yep.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a flood here. People are doing health checks, but they're in the building and members are trying to get in.
Oh.
Anyway. Hey, Aaron.
Hello.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I guess we'll only go give it a minute. But. Cool. I guess Gary, if you want to start us off with emergency management. Gary, if you are trying to talk, you're muted.
Maybe he doesn't want to start us off.
Okay, there we go.
I don't have anything new right now. No one has contacted me asking for anything. So that's good news. I may know more tomorrow afternoon after I attend the State Emergency Operations Center meeting, but right
Okay,
now,
cool.
just keep the schools will open okay.
Okay, thanks, Gary. And Gary, just so you know, I have given away like I don't know, probably like 15 packages of the masks maybe. I had a box from earlier that I got, so I've just been using those.
Yeah, I've got plenty of them there stored at the Bradford Academy, and I know they're giving them away. They're giving individual masks away at town office,
Cool.
but
Okay.
we've got plenty to go around. Most towns that I've heard from are giving each individual one mask, so that, you know, if you got a family of 5, you'd have 5. But,
Yeah,
anyways, that's what they're there for.
cool. All right. And then I don't think I have anything communications wise. I've just been sharing stuff as I like get it. And volunteer coordination wise, I don't think I have anything either. Nobody showed up to our last like check-in call, which at this point it's just I'm not really expecting anybody to. We haven't had anything major. So Ryan, is there anything town wise?
No, there's no major updates. We'll be having a select board meeting through Zoom tomorrow night starting at 6:30. If anyone wants to attend that, it'll be riveting.
Cool.
But nothing big on the agenda there.
Very cool. I don't see Ashleen. I don't know that I've heard. I don't know if anybody else has any updates on food access. I don't know that I've heard anything. I guess the Vital Communities is looking into doing and Everybody Eats. So I don't know if anybody saw that from like Brattleboro. They basically did a partnership between kind of with restaurants in the town and services, social services to connect meals with people who need them, basically. So I know Vital Communities is looking into getting money to be kind of the conduit for that, to connect like the Haven and that kind of stuff to restaurants. But okay, and then medical, I don't see anybody from Little Rivers. Let's see, Erin or Patty, anything on business?
Not that I can think of. We had an economic development committee meeting last night, and kind of our community feeling was that businesses are still in survival mode rather than growth mode, unless you're in certain industries that have prospered during this time. So we're just trying to figure out as a group how we can support the local chamber members, and so we'll continue to work on that.
Cool, and there is
As far
another
as-
round. Okay.
Sorry, Monique. As
go
far
ahead,
as the
guys.
bank goes, we are starting to do the processing for the loan forgiveness. That started. So we're starting to work on that for all the PPP loans that were done at the beginning. So that's a work in progress.
Cool, and maybe I'll instead of trying to summarize, I got an email from the newsletter from the Raw Arts Council, had a bunch of programs in it. I'd rather try to. So there's like a micro business grant program. There's a restart kind of economy marketing program, but I'll just forward that to the resilience group so I can see it. And Carol Freeman, I guess.
There's really not anything new. Nothing seems to have changed. I don't know if Mary Ann has anything, but it's sort of in a on hold mode.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, it is on hold mode. One thing that I did want to bring up was the Oxbow Senior Independence Program. OSIP is launching a virtual adult day and sort of a community Zoom feel to it, as well as they're inviting participants who are not from Adult Day. They've got an ambitious agenda as far as what they're offering, times throughout the day, exercise, story time, crafts, presenters. So they are looking for volunteers who might have something to present or do a reading of some sort. So yeah, I think she's doing some trial days, and I think she's launching the day after Labor Day, and they're planning to offer services every day. You should see things on the listserv about it, as well as the Valley News. I think she's going to be in. So yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for them. And I know the Council on Aging is looking at hiring a technology person who is specifically designed to help people who are having technology issues in the senior population to be able to connect. So hopefully with some of those pieces coming together, that might be something that'll benefit some folks out there.
Awesome. Thanks, Marianne.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Danielle, do you want to give an update on the schools? No problem.
So, the majority of our current conversations are really about, trying to prepare to get back to school, trying to figure out what that's going to look like, sort of giving teachers the extra time, obviously, by the state with the starting September 8th. I think it's been super helpful for the staff. And so right now the plan is, and I'm pretty sure most people know this, but elementary school is going to be in session every day. So both Bradford and Newberry are going every day. They are doing an early release on Wednesday, so that the staff, custodial staff, has time to clean. Oxbow is doing every day except for Wednesdays for 7th and 8th graders. So Wednesdays, there'll be no children in the building at all. And then they're doing 2 separate cohorts. They're doing for the upperclassmen. So for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, half of them will pretty much go Monday, Tuesday, and then the other half will go Thursday, Friday. And again, there'll be nobody in the building on Wednesday so that they can clean the buildings. On those days off or away from school, there's remote learning going on for the older children. So they'll be checking in and having a routine schedule. So it'll be different from what happened in the spring, as far as there was some structure, but not as much, hourly, or like each subject had a check-in. So this is definitely, it will be streamlined more like a day in school. So they'll have 8 o'clock class, then 9:40, and then at 10:40, and then there'll be a lunch break, and then they'll have afternoon classes. So the hope is that it will be more structured like an actual day, which will help both kids and parents sort of stay focused on that. So I think that's really exciting. One of the things that I'm amazed by is that in all of the informational sessions, all parents were given many choices as far as how they wanted their kids to attend school, whether they wanted to do the standard, which was either a hybrid model, or to do remote, and have the school support their children remotely. So parents and families were given the option to choose not to send their kids to school and still receive supports and all online classes from the school itself, which we're pretty fortunate to have that. I know, talking to other families in other states, that really isn't an option. It's either everybody's going or nobody's going, and there's not really a choice to be able to do either. There is also the option that a parent or family could make to send their children every day except for Wednesday, and if they don't have good access to internet or computer access, the children can actually go into the school and be provided a space in the building to do their learning on campus, which I think is a huge benefit for families that don't have reliable internet, or just it's not possible for the kids to be home and in a learning environment. So that was really exciting. And then just quickly, the food update. I know you and I, Monique, have sort of been working on trying to figure out how to get more information out there to families and the community about what services are available. So we're sort of starting that with Hunger Free Vermont, and reaching out with other organizations and ways to sort of pull information into the schools and into our communities to make it more available for people. We are doing a push in the school to make sure that parents and families know about the free and reduced lunch forms, and trying to get those filled out. as far as for provision 2 that we're offering or hoping to offer if the budget passes on September 1st. So those are things that we're working on. I am nervous about how our families are going to fare through the winter. I'm concerned that as things change and heating bills come in and the reality of the harshness of the winter around here, I feel is going to make it a little bit more challenging for families. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can sort of build a toolkit for our communities as far as resources that are available for them, because I think that's just this real fear that I have. And so I'm hoping that trying to get information out ahead of time will give people more time to access it and prepare, or at least know that there's resources there. And then finally, obviously, we're going out for our budget revote on September 1st. And there is the ability to get a ballot mailed to you, although we're sort of bumping up against the timeline for that. I would say at this point, you're sort of past that, with the mail not necessarily overnight anymore. If you have a ballot that was mailed to you, you're probably better off just going ahead and dropping it off at the town offices at this point. And then the polls will be open from 10 to 7 in both Bradford and Newbury. So that's, I think, everything. Questions or whatever?
Yeah, go ahead, Marvin.
You know, a couple things. The sending schools that send to Riverbend that aren't going to be on the same schedule, are they going to allow students to come, even though they're doing all? I think Rivendell's doing all remote for a while, right? And some others. Do you know what the story is there?
I don't know. So as far as sending into Oxbow, you're talking about, or to
Into Riverbend?
Riverbend, yeah. So I don't know. I know that Brian's been trying to work out the details of that, and I have not heard specifically. So.
Okay. And one other question: do you know how many households or do not have reliable internet access that are in Bradford and Newbury?
So I don't know exactly. I know when we were in the throes of the stay at home, we had, I think, a combined between Bradford and Newbury, there was approximately 8 families that indicated that they did not have reliable access, which, you know, seemed low to me. So I hesitate to rely too heavily on those numbers. I did actually just find again, I think Claude had put out a survey about access, and I was actually going to try and put that out on some Facebook and see if we couldn't get more families to fill that out. And Monique, you may have more resources. So there is that issue. The nice thing is the school has sent out surveys about it, and I know the school is collecting the data about internet access. One of the things that if you did choose remote learning completely, you did have to admit or guarantee that your kids had access to that internet, and or you had a process to make sure that they had access. So that was part of it, as far as one of the qualifiers to be able to do full remote was that you had to be able to guarantee that your kids did have access to internet. So I think they were trying to figure out that piece of it. And then obviously offering the ability for kids to come in even on Thursday, Friday, all days of the week, except for Wednesdays, I think was a huge benefit too. So.
And one more question.
Yeah.
The papers are saying that, you know, there's more homeschooling going on because of this. Do you know whether are you seeing that in our districts or not?
I know there was a lot of parents talking about it. I think probably there has been a significant uptick in that. I also know that I think a lot of parents were looking at it originally because they didn't think that they would be able to choose the remote school option. So I think once they realized that they had the ability to access the curriculum that the school was offering, as long as they had internet, that they were willing to make that choice rather than homeschool. But again, that was a survey that was done, and I know that information was due in last Monday, and the results are still sort of trickling in, so we haven't gotten all of that data in yet. But I know that was a question that was asked.
Cool. Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah.
Nancy, do you have any updates on the mentoring project?
Currently, we're trying to set up a board meeting either remotely or outside or at Space on Main possibly. Because we need to try to figure out how to continue with a robust program and try to compare our program to what's being done in other states. We do have 3 new mentor applicants, but we're still struggling with how do we match them with kids who have a need for a mentor, because we still have to do it remotely or by social distancing. So we're in the process of just trying to figure things out and how do we keep going with a robust program. That's all I
Thanks,
have.
Nancy. Do you want to share a Conservation Commission update real quick? Trees?
About the tree giveaway for Bradford residents?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been posting every day on the Bradford listserv the link that connects us to the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program and the Arbor Day Foundation. But every Bradford resident is entitled to 2 free trees that are between 2.5 and 3 feet tall. And there's a choice of 5 different species. And the whole premise of this is these are called energy saving trees because they're providing shade and cleaning the air. And to be eligible, they just have to be a Bradford resident. And the trees will be given away on September 19th, which is a Saturday, at the Bradford Town Highway Garage.
Cool. Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah. One other thing with
yeah.
Conservation Commission. The virtual race, not virtual, but the endurance race is going to happen, the 24-hour race, which is being coordinated by Jason Moselle. And the proceeds from that will be divided mostly for veteran suicide prevention programs. And as of right now, there are 15 runners that have already registered.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And we're hoping to get help from the Vermont National Guard in terms of volunteers, because we're going to need volunteers for 24 hours. Not a 24-hour stint, but like 3-hour shifts at 3 different.
When's that being held?
October 9th and 10th. Let me check that. I'm not sure. Maybe it's 10th and 11th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. Where can people sign up for that? There is a website. I'll have to give it to Monique and she can forward it. The registration fee is $110. It's October 10th and 11th, sorry. Saturday and Sunday. It starts at 9 on Saturday and finishes at 9 on Sunday. So far, all of the registrants are from New England, and they're not from COVID hotspots in New England, which is a good thing. But there are also measures that are being established for health and safety reasons. The runners will be staggered at the start line at 10-minute intervals. And they're also being provided with masks if they do meet people on the trails. Although we are going to post that the trails, that there is a race in progress, and we'll show the race route and suggest that people not go on those trails. That's it. Thanks.
Oh, I'm muted. Thank you. Carol Taylor, anything going on with the churches?
Well, a few of them have opened. They've had good attendance. Things have gone well. They have their distancing, their masks, whatever, and a few churches still haven't opened yet.
Cool. Ramsey Housing?
Hi, as usual, we still need more. I actually, like, this week, I was out last week, and this week I have gotten about 5 new clients who are all living in campers. A couple with relatively small children, so it's concerning, and at least half of them are in the Bradford area. So it's frustrating. There's money available for people, but there's no housing to use it to get into. So it's really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some other programs that are happening right now, as far as there's some money for utility arrearages through the Vermont Public Services Board. I don't have a lot of details about that at the moment, but people can either look on the Public Service Board website, or they can call Erica at our office, who has details if they have COVID related arrearages. I think they can do like maybe 90 days worth, and I think the arrearages have to be since not from before March 1st, but I don't know the exact details on that yet. It's pretty new.
Yeah. Cool. And has the eviction that was moved to August 31st, right? Is that?
Yeah, I think it's like as the governor kind of moves things, it moves. So it's hard to know whether or not what's gonna happen with that as far as courts opening up and everything, how fast things like that might proceed. Landlords I have a number of people who are receiving notices to quit. So landlords are still giving those, but they don't have a lot to enforce them with at the moment. But
right.
I'm hoping
thank you, Ramsey.
A little bit more coming up on the next meeting I'm on today.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Marvin.
Monique, you want to give folks an update about the news that we heard about the project at Whistle Stop with Down Street in the Haven, and also are we anywhere with trying to get a date or presenters for a housing forum?
No, not yet. We will be by next call. How about that? Yeah, and actually, I don't know. Ramsey might actually be able to speak better to the Whistle Stop thing than me, but I
actually just sent somebody from
cool.
An email to try to confirm things, because I can't remember their time frame. And I also can't remember if they have to go to people who are in hotels or if they can go to any people who were homeless. I think they are dedicated to homeless families.
Yeah, and I believe they already have 3 lined up, I think.
They already have them, okay.
Yep. If I didn't send that to the group, I will forward Mike Rama's email with all the details to everybody. But basically they're putting in 3 zero energy, it sounds like modular, like micro, like tiny houses basically, that'll go into Whistle Stop to help with placing 3 families. But I'll forward that thing from Mike.
So I actually do have one other thing.
Sure.
We have a fairly enthusiastic person in Randolph who has done a somewhere in Orange. There's this little program that was done in Washington and Oregon called Conestoga Huts, and they're these little huts that are like a Conestoga wagon, only without the wagon part, for people who are homeless. That are, it's better, more secure, more weatherproof than a tent. So there is a group of people who are interested in trying to see if these could be provided and how efficiently how cost effectively they can make them. The problem is places to put them. But they did just do their very first one last weekend up in Orange for somebody who is homeless. He was able to put his on family-owned property, I believe, so he has access to some plumbing and things like that. But it's just something some people are thinking about for different people in Orange County and beyond. So I don't know whether there is any capacity anywhere in Bradford where something like that could be set up, where people might have access to bathrooms, but it's something to be mindful of and think about. They are pretty cost effective. I think you can build them for $1,500 or something like that. So they definitely aren't as good as getting somebody really housed, but they give somebody a lot more secure place to be than having to count on being in a tent. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Ramsey. Yeah, go ahead, Marvin.
What about the fairgrounds? Would that be a potential?
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, obviously there'd be some issues to work out, but that's a wide open space with maybe bathroom capacity and also close to the store and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it'd be
that's an interesting
fantastic. It
idea.
would be a matter of figuring out the bathrooms and the cleaning and all of that. I mean, there's so many things to consider when you consider something like this, but it's definitely a need that's perceived in the area, because there are people who just can't get into regular housing, or they just aren't comfortable being constrained like that. I don't know. It would be interesting to see how it goes through the winter.
Ramsey, I don't know if this is something you can confirm. When was it? Is Eileen? Yeah, Eileen from down street had like talked to that like state group. I think you're on that call with VCRD, but she had said there was 18 homeless families in Bradford. Is that like? But they weren't sure. Like I asked Mike for a confirmation on where that information came from. But so is that accurate?
I don't know, because I don't necessarily know who everybody in Bradford is that's homeless and where they're getting their information. I do know that there are a lot more being put up in Bradford right now through economic services, like at the Bradford Motel. And I personally have like spoken to, and so somebody who's living in a camper, excuse me, who's living in a camper, even if it has like, can be hooked up to water and electric, that's still technically homeless. So if they're counting those numbers, I just have all of a sudden have had a huge surge of people meeting that category. So I would not doubt it in any way that that's accurate, but they might not all be originally from Bradford. So there have been some people put up in the Bradford Motel who there wasn't room in another motel somewhere, or something. I have worked with a couple that aren't really from Bradford, so they just ended up in Bradford.
Great, thank you. And then I haven't received any updates from Mike about Stagecoach. Does anybody else have anything else they wanted to share? Okay, thanks everybody. I just forwarded, so I just put in the chat if you want to download it real quick, Downstreet's report, but I also forwarded it to everybody in the Bradford Resilience group, and I sent the Vermont Arts Council the few like economic grants that they announced. They just did a really good job of succinctly sharing what ACCB had announced. So those are in your inbox as well. I guess if Carol, Erin, and Nancy, and Patty and Brian want to stay on, but thanks everybody else.
Bye, thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Marvin.
Okay, Brian, a question for you and a question for Carol. I guess Ryan is gone, right? We in Newbury our budget committee and select board are meeting with some of the groups that we normally meet with in December and January about budget, just because we know that this is going to be a tough budget year, and we just want to get an early discussion with those groups about where their expectations are going to be for next year and so forth. And I just wondered if the Bradford Select Board had any ideas of doing that, or if they're already doing that, or if they thought about it. It might be something to think about. And secondly, I just wonder with Brian, is Bradford Youth Sports going to be in action this fall? I mean, is that kind of wait and see, or what's happening with the youth sports around the area?
So yes, there's going to be something. What it looks like, we don't know. So my wife is the soccer director, and so she's been in touch with some of the other municipalities, but one of the big problems is that a lot of those are done through the town or the school. So with Bradford Youth Sports being a 501c3, we can determine kind of how we want to go, whereas they have to follow some of the guideline of the schools that they're in. So we may not have competition to play against. So then it's going to be a question of whether we set up just kind of like soccer clinics and try to do some smaller, maybe 5v5 in age groups in order to do that. But, right now it's like everybody's waiting to see, kind of what's next. So there will be something. It may not look like a typical soccer season.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. I think the only kind of official thing we have is just minutes, which I sent out. We were just gonna do electronic approval. So I got Ashleen. Let me see. Hold on. Minutes.
I think Ashleen seconded it.
Yeah. So if other people want to just reply aye to that thread, that would be awesome, and that includes everything up until now. So, yeah.
This is Nancy. Aye. Aye.
Okay. I guess, yeah. Okay. If everybody else wants to say aye, I'll just put it in the thread, just so it's like in the same record.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Killing me, people. All right.
Hey, I responded aye.
You did.
AYE, not EYE, too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I even spelled it right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And that's it. I guess, Carol, can you check for me? We had gotten a $500 grant from New England Grassroots, but then it was all it was waiting on was Danielle to get Ted's signature, I think. And so it's been like a month now, and they asked again, and so I emailed them again, but I didn't get any reply from them. So I don't know if you could bring it up tomorrow. But
Yes, I can probably even check with her today.
oh, okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. If she has it, she has a thread. It just needs to be signed and sent back to them. So
Yep.
Cool, thank you. Anybody have anything else? Are we still good? Like, I know we didn't really have too much new, but I feel like it was a pretty quick meeting, so I'm okay keeping it every other week, but I don't know what you guys all think.
It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of stuff that's gonna be changing. I mean, clearly the schools are gonna get going here pretty soon. It's gonna be interesting. I've talked to a lot of educators, and it's gonna be interesting to say the least. But yeah, I mean, in terms of other stuff, I don't think we're seeing a whole lot of movement, are we?
No.
And no volunteer requests, really, to speak of?
No, like nothing. The only thing I've gotten is like Gary, I had a box of masks and Gary gave me some more masks. He picked up more from the state. But so as soon as that was published, as far as the location from the emergency management department on where people could request masks, I probably got like 10 people requesting to come pick up masks, but that was about it.
I did end up talking to Judy Slack and Wanda Vaughn about potentially making masks in school, and they said they also know some people who have sewing machines, but that may be something that they want to do. So I said, well, just kind of let me know if you want to do some kind of project like that. And they actually said maybe they get Al Morrow involved, the art teacher, because there's only so much that they can do with art, in terms of touching different and all that kind of stuff. I talked to a guy today, and he said that in order to play ultimate frisbee, all the kids have to wear gloves.
Oh man.
To play outside, and it's like, so they're trying to like figure out anything that you can do where you don't have to breathe heavy and you don't have to touch something that anybody else touched. It's so it's gonna be interesting. But so stand by, they may want to do something like that at the school.
Okay. Cool.
Hey,
Thanks,
Monique,
Brian.
do you know how the food drives went in Bradford? And are they going to continue those?
So I wonder if I
mean,
can
the food
get
giveaways?
Yeah, I wonder if Gary can get a report. So I think what I had heard from, there was an email from Gary. I might even be able to just forward this, but it was like we raised a concern about whether or not Bradford residents actually had a chance to sign up because it was full by the time any of us like told anybody. And it sounds like there was a fair number, like maybe a third of the zip codes were like Bradford and Newbury and Corinth. So it was definitely like included people from, yeah. I didn't hear anything from the community as far as people saying like they didn't get them, or like I didn't hear any feedback. I don't know if anybody else did. And it was only 75, so like there wasn't, so it was limited. It wasn't like there was a huge like a thing that happened in Barrie where it's like 900 cars or whatever. It was a sign up ahead and then show up thing.
So do you know if those will continue?
No, so they didn't even continue. There was a chance that they were going to continue in August for Bradford, then they chose not to. So I kind of, I mean, to me that seems like they didn't see enough of a need. But here.
Need for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Fairly's still doing theirs on Fridays.
Yeah, they still have fresh produce and everything on Fridays. And at the beginning, they were like ending up with leftover food, but by the end, they said that they were running out of food. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it shuts down in other places, more than likely people, know
Yeah.
kind of where the next closest one is and kind of track towards that.
Yeah, and any updates I've heard from Jenny, like I don't know if it's changed, but the food shelf was still like, even in other towns, they were saying like underutilization even lower than the normal numbers. I don't know if that's changed now that people are not getting unemployment. Like I wonder if that has changed, but
right.
Yeah, it'd be worth it. I'll send an email to Jenny and check in and see how that's going though. Cool. Well, thanks everybody.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
All right, see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Yeah.